Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world in our country and how we're going to fix both of them together. The content that I'm about to show you is the perfect example of why you should watch more shows like this and less shows like New York Times. Because they just came out and they openly said on the table that they may be wrong on their polling, they could be wrong on their projections for president, and it turns out that they oversampled Democrats 16%. I don't know why they would do that 3 days before the election, just putting it on the table, no big deal. We're going to have to go through this, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think. Of course, everything's always linked in the description box below. I always bring the receipts. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on if you want to spread this freedom from border to border, from country to country. That's not it. From coast to coast. There we go. And everything, like I said, will be linked. And guys, one of the most important things about this type of propaganda is being able to counter it. And that's why I partner with Ground.News. They provide all the information. You got to check it out. Quick video, and then we are going to hit this. Guys, I'm excited to welcome back to the channel one of my favorite sponsors, Ground.News. And you can find out all about this at ground.news/Langley. But one of the reasons they're my favorite sponsors is because they genuinely help with the mission of this channel. They show you the bias, the distribution, who owns the information that you're consuming. It cuts through all of the BS to give us a true picture of what's actually happening. Now, if you look on the homepage right here through the Vantage subscription, which is what I'm logged into, you can see the election news on the right. You can see the main articles that are featured in the middle. But this one we covered earlier today, top left on the daily briefing, Trump's Cheney comments. Now look at this. We covered this, but look at the distribution. The left is responding a lot bigger than the right, with the middle making up the middle, which is ironic because that's what they are. 201 articles from the 60 original. You can see it right there. Then if you go down here, it shows you the actual bias distribution. Guys, this is one of those tools that is so applicable for what we do, and it's something that you can get for 50% off with a link in the description box below, the Vantage subscription. This is something that I think you will find value from, and thank you to them for making this content possible. Check it out. All right, so as we go into this, guys, I really want to highlight how important it is for you guys to vote. Ignore polls, because this is exactly why we ignore polls. Make sure you vote, your family vote, your friends vote. Because New York Times genuinely came out today and said, yeah, our stuff's crap. So if it turns out to be crap and Trump wins, at least we said it 2 days before the election. Listen to this. I've got some points highlighted, but I want to jump right to the end because this is the payoff, and then I'll show you how they got here. And I got it in blue for you so you understand how important this is. Non-response bias. 4 years ago, the polls were thought to underestimate Mr. Trump because of non-response bias, in which his supporters were less likely to take surveys than demographically similar Biden supporters. Yeah, because we don't trust you, we don't like you, and we don't have time for your bullcrap. It's hard to measure non-response bias. After all, we couldn't reach these demographically similar votes. But one measure I track from time to time is the proportion of Democrats or Republicans who respond to a survey after considering other factors. Check this out. Across the final polls, white Democrats were 16% likelier to respond than white Republicans. That's a larger disparity than our earlier polls this year, and it's not much better than our final polls in 2020. Even with the pandemic over, it raises the possibility that the polls could underestimate Mr. Trump yet again. We do a lot to account for this, but in the end, there are no guarantees. Do you understand what he just said? Yeah, it's actually a bigger disparity on who's answering the polls than 2020, when the last time Trump overperformed his polls, just like in 2016. So there's no guarantees at the end. But again, I just want to refocus on the fact that it's right down here. White Democrats were 16% likelier to respond than white Republicans. You know what's interesting, guys? Top of my head, white Republicans are the only demographic that the polls are showing that Kamala Harris has a lead in. You remember that when we go through all the different data points and all the different stuff with CNN, how the big bright shining light was Kamala Harris's advantage with white voters? Remember that? Yeah, it's weird that the New York Times would say they're 16% likelier to respond than white Republicans. It's almost like when you demonize an entire half of the country and you make them out to be Satan or Hitler, it's weird that they don't respond to your request for data. Almost like, I don't trust you, I don't care, because the trust is gone. The media has done it. The Democrats have done it. But now, let me show you this, because this I didn't want to bury the lead. I really wanted to show you that part. So I got a few other things I really got to hit here. So here's the article. Some surprises in last battleground polls, but still a deadlock. Yeah, if you've been watching this channel, you guys know it's not a deadlock. If Harris is tied with Trump in the national vote, which is what they're suggesting, it's about to get real painful. Not for Trump. Anyway, let me show you the numbers they've got here. And these are the ones, again, at the end of this article, they bury it and they say, but 16% likelier response from Democrats. So there's a 16% bump for Democrats in these pollings. But don't worry about that, guys. It's neck and neck. It's tied. Here's what they have. Final New York Times CNN battleground poll results. Arizona, Trump +4. Georgia, Harris +1. Michigan, Trump +1. Nevada, Harris +3. North Carolina, Harris +3. Pennsylvania is even. And Wisconsin is Harris +3. Now, you know what's interesting about this is the New York Times and CNN was wrong every other time because they underestimated the actual response because Republicans don't like them and they don't respond to them. Here is the most accurate pollster of 2020. And I'm going to show you their numbers real quick. The poll that shows Trump leading in Arizona and Nevada by a very large, comfortable margin. North Carolina, Trump +3.4. Georgia, Trump +2.5. Arizona, Trump +6.5. Nevada, Trump +5.5. Wisconsin, Trump +1. Michigan, Trump +1.5. And Pennsylvania, +1.8 for Trump. Atlas Intel also has Trump's leading nationally by 2 points. You do not understand, if you don't pay attention to this, how much of a bloodbath that would be. Now, all of this means crap. You've got to vote, you got your family to vote, and your friends to vote. But when you've got the most accurate pollster in 2020 saying this, and you have the most, or one of the most inaccurate pollsters saying this, and then in the exact same article, they say, yes, 16% more likely response from Democrats, how do you think that's going to shake out in 2 days? Anyway, let's keep going. This is why we do this stuff, guys, because if you know the data, you can call them on their bull crap. We do this in the gun world all the time. The survey does offer a clue that voters have been shifting down the stretch. We asked voters when they decided to support their candidate. Among those who said they decided over the last few days, Ms. Harris had a 58-42 lead, including leading 66-34% among late deciders in the Sun Belt, while Mr. Trump led 60-40 in among the late deciders in the North. Do you know why that's so massive? The reason why it's so massive is Trump has such a dramatic lead in the Sun Belt, which would be like Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, that area. He can absorb a small bump for Harris in those areas. But do you know what Harris can't afford in the Rust Belt, which would be Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio region? This right here, 66-34 in the Trump Belt, that's her. Trump led 60-40 among deciders in the North. So if it's dead even, according to the New York Times, and Trump has an advantage in the Sun Belt where he can absorb her advantage in the final days, and she's losing or dead even in the Rust Belt, and she can't absorb his gains in the last few days. Again, how do you think that's going to work out, particularly when their votes or their polls are underestimating Republicans at a disadvantage by 16%? Let's keep going. To some extent, the diminished Democratic early voting edge can be interpreted as a result of a return to the pre-election norm. But in many places like Nevada, Republicans seem to be doing even better. There is a little bit of a leap of faith here for Democrats. They're counting on a lot of people to vote on Election Day who didn't in 2020 or 2022. Their track records of voting give plenty of reason to think they will do so, but if not, the result will quickly look very different. That is these people right here, the New York Times throwing the towel and going, guys, just a heads up, we said it. If it goes wrong, we said it. But man, it'd be great if we were wrong. But if we aren't wrong, we said it. You have to understand these people. You have to understand the games and the politics. You have to understand how the polls are used to manipulate people. The polls, they literally just said 2 days before the election, of which they have been building an entire narrative around Harris for the past 3 months. 2 days before the election, they go, yeah, by the way, we've been oversampling Democrats by 16%. They're more likely, but it is no big deal. Don't worry, Trump's just going to overestimate or overperform the polls again when we're dead even or losing. Guys, you're on the precipice of something. Just saying, don't miss out. Make sure you vote, your family votes, your friends to vote, and I hope you guys enjoyed this content. I landed that plane, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. Later.